Guys. Wait, I just ate. I need to see if there's something in my teeth. There was 100% something in my teeth. Glad we checked that, got that out of the way. I went to church today, and you know those days when you go to church and it feels like there's a room full of people, but the person is speaking directly to your soul? That happened today, and I just have to talk to someone about it because God is so good. He is so good. That feeling when the person speaking is talking directly to you, I've been feeling that, but like just in life in general over the past month, it feels like every single thing that's been happening is just building on top of each other. I'm getting to a place where I'm boiling over with gratitude and just honor for the Lord, and I'm just so thankful for what He's doing in my life. I want to tell you about it. Christine came and spoke at our church today. Every time she speaks, I want to run through a wall after. To see it on like someone on a stage talking directly to the situation you're in, it just feels so crazy because it's like we're literally in a room full of people. It probably is a message for everyone here, and every other person is probably experiencing it, but it just felt so personal. And that's what God's been doing in my day today. Like I'll read something in the Bible and then I'll go into a conversation with someone and they'll bring up something like specifically in that part of the Bible that I read that morning. Or we're reading, last video I posted, we were reading, the last video that I posted, I talked about the reset that we're reading with the worship team. The chapter that we read was like building upon something that I read about in the Bible. And then going to service today, she was talking about like walking in resurrection and having faith and like all these different things that like I feel like God's been highlighting to me. When I was driving home, I was processing all this information and trying to figure out how to tell people, because that's one of the things in this time of my life that I just want to be more adamant about. Not even with this just because I'm starting a YouTube channel, but just in my personal life. I just want to talk about the things that God is doing more and share my story and share the ways that God has done above and beyond anything I could have even imagined. A couple weeks ago, I looked at this journal that I used to keep in high school. High school was a really, really dark time for me. I'll give more details on that another time, but it was at a point where I was suicidal, I was self-harming. I genuinely did not want to live, and I had this journal that I would write all my thoughts in. And for some reason, I took that journal to like an ACT prep class that was like in the summertime, and that was my notebook for that ACT class. I left the notebook somewhere on the campus. We were at a college campus doing this prep class. Someone found my notebook, wrote me like a 3-page front and back page letter, basically telling me like, they didn't know my name, but telling me that there's so much more to life, just give it time. And I think back to that time because over and over again in my life, there's been moments that I shouldn't have made it past that moment. Like there's been so many things that the enemy has tried to come against me with. There's been so many things that have happened around me and in me emotionally that I shouldn't be in the place where I am today. But because of the goodness and the grace of God, over and over and over again, He has stepped in and showed up in ways that I didn't even know how to ask for. I haven't read this letter from this stranger. I think I've only read it maybe 3 times max in my life. Like I read it obviously during that season when I got my notebook back. I don't remember what it felt like when I first read that letter, and I think I've read it maybe once since then, and then the 3rd time would have been like a couple weeks ago. I'm reading this letter, and the person that wrote it said that they were 28, and that just blew me away because I'm turning 28 now. They found that notebook probably when I was 16, so it's been almost 12 years. Looking at this person's handwriting, this person that didn't know me, this person that had no reason to take the time to write me a letter, like they got different paper than what was in my notebook and sat down and wrote out for me, just like, you're gonna be okay, don't give up, keep going. I went and grabbed it. Like when I tell you, they wrote me a letter a very long letter. I realized that this person was writing and they said, I'm 28. It hit me. I don't even know how to explain. I just started sobbing because of how far God has brought me and how worthy He is of my life, of my words, of my actions, of every single thing that I do, how every breath that I breathe, I get to give as worship to Him, because there was a time in my life where I didn't want to live anymore and I didn't want to take another breath. And to be able to stand before people today and be that person and say, you've still got so much left in you, like, don't give up. Keep going, keep fighting, keep pushing. That feeling of not being good enough or not fitting in or feeling just left outside of every bubble that I felt like I was in. I've been experiencing that feeling since I was probably 11 years old. I think that was the first time in my life that I remember having emotions so strong that I didn't know how to deal with them. From like 11 to 13 middle school years, I genuinely don't remember most of that time because it was so rough for me. So that when I went into high school, I just wanted to fit in. I just wanted to be part of the cool kids, that I did everything that I shouldn't have done. And that's what ended me in a place where I genuinely didn't want to live anymore, because I walked away from the Lord. I grew up in the church, but I spent most of my high school years fighting with the Lord, angry at the Lord because of just things that had happened in my life. As a teenager, I didn't know how to process those things. So I went from struggling with like severe emotions of sadness, anxiety, and depression from the age of 11 to probably up until 23, that being something that I struggled with on and off, to now I am 28 and I haven't dealt with anything like that since I was 23. That to me is insane. I struggled with that for 12 years of my life. I thought that my life was going to be marked by this beast of depression, and I didn't know that all I needed to do was take it to the Lord, get some counseling and some therapy, and put myself in the right communities, and that those things God would work out, that it's not something that I have to live my whole entire life carrying. This might seem so random from everything that I've been like saying, but it's just part of the process of how I feel like God's like bringing me back to life, because me standing today is a miracle. Me being alive and talking and being able to speak to people the things that God has done in my life is a miracle, and I would have never thought that my life was going to look like this. And I think in this past season where I felt like I was dying to myself and trying to get out every single thing that was human in me, I forgot how good God is. I forgot how worthy He is, how lovely He is, how kind He is. I don't want to forget that anymore. I want to figure out a way to like keep this kind of reverence in my heart at the forefront of my mind. That journal that I used to have, I felt like God told me to throw it away. And what's weird is it was hard to throw that journal away. I've kept that journal, and I don't really like look at it on a regular basis. I think I maybe opened up that journal a couple times since high school when I was actually actively writing in it. Every time I opened it, it was insane how drastically different who I am now versus that kid that was hurting and broken and had nowhere to go and had no clue how to process. And so I threw the journal away, but part of me was like, oh, I'm holding on to this so that I remember where God's brought me from. But in reality, I think I was holding on to it to show me that no matter how far God takes me, this is who I really was at one point in time. And that is just not it. That is not it. So I'm sharing this today because I hope that it inspires maybe one person to start actually living your life on purpose. Maybe one person today gets to wake up and realize like, wow, I really need to let go of those things in the past or that person in the past, and I really need to walk in who God called me to be. And I really need to walk in faith, in love, in affection, in admiration towards Him. And every single day, find time to show him just how worthy he is and how lovely he is and how kind he is. Christine Kane today said, I'm gonna quote it exactly, so let me get my notebook. She said, I made a decision a long time ago that I was going to make what Jesus did for me bigger than what they did to me. And boy, did that was one of those things that, like, when she said it, it hit me like a dagger in the heart, because I want that. I want to spend the rest of my life sharing how good God has been, despite the circumstances. Also, a bit of transparency. God is doing all these sweet things in my relationship with him right now, in a time where my life is a little bit weird because I'm an adult and adult lives are busy. And so I've been spending a lot of time alone. And that's why I feel like maybe I've actually just been paying attention to what God's doing. My friends are really busy right now, and my family's really busy right now, and I have a long distance boyfriend. So it's like most Friday nights, I'm just hanging out by myself. In a season that previously probably would have put me in a depression spiral because I would feel like I'm alone and no one loves me and all these different things, I'm having so much fun. I'm having so much fun just spending time with God and getting to know him more and seeing that it's gonna be okay and life is good. Even if it's not perfect, who cares about perfect? There's so much to be thankful for, and there's so much to give honor and glory to him for. And I don't want to spend any more time focusing on how my life just doesn't add up because it doesn't matter. For some reason, God sent his son to die on a cross so that we could have a relationship with him, despite the things that have happened in the past, despite the choices that we've made, despite if you were the perfect one who did all the right things or you're the messy one who did all the wrong things. We were made to be in a relationship with him. We were made to be in love with him. We were made to walk out every single detail of life with him and not just treat him as something that's passive or something that he'll show up whenever I need him, but when life's okay, don't worry, I got it. So go spend time with him. I know you watched this video, and if you stayed to the end, thanks. This got a little bit more intense, I think, than I planned for, but honestly, this is probably more my personality than anything else. My plan on this channel was to do like a fun video and then a more serious video because I love being silly, goofy girl. That's very much so a part of who I am, but also I love the depths of things. I love the depths of people. I love the depths of the Bible. I love the deep, deep parts with Jesus. I love knowing how people work. I'm not skilled at surface level conversation. I really just felt like God told me to share what was on my heart today. So being obedient, this might be a little messy because I didn't plan it in advance. That's just me being real and honest. I had no preparation of making this specific video, but I'm gonna spend some time with Jesus now because I feel like I need to cry more. I'm just a crier. I love crying with Jesus. I love talking about Jesus and crying. I love crying when other people are crying. I'm a crier. I hope that encouraged you or challenged you or made you feel seen and understood. I hope you're loving yourself today. You're being kind to yourself today. And I hope that you're seeking Jesus with everything that you have inside of you because he's worthy of everything. Okay, bye.